This is Tony Johnston. This video will focus on dairy food safety by design, how a modern dairy is designed from the ground up to focus on food safety. Dairies are, by nature, dirty places. The cows come in, the cows lie on the ground, they're dragging manure and soil particles, and they're just outside animals, and they bring all this material into the dairy. So the dairy has to be designed to be easily and readily cleaned to ensure that the milk that we collect from the cows can be processed well and rendered safe for us to consume. The first shots you're going to see in the video are of the cows, the featured players of the dairy, and they're inside the barn grabbing a bite to eat before they go get milked. Here the cows are, they're poking their heads through the gates inside the barn. You can tell they're inside the barn, and they're reaching through to feed on some of the forage that's outside, that we have put outside for them. They stay there until they're brought into the parlor to be milked exactly. In this shot you can see the loafing area in the background where the cows stay in the winter most of the time, and in the summer before they're milked. That loafing area is designed to be to retain the litter for extended periods of time and actually recycle the litter. The floors are all sloped downward so that the water flows from right to left in the picture, and the milking parlor itself is far to the right. You can see the cows are staying in the general vicinity because these cows actually have already been milked. This is the area going to the milking parlor, and you can see that the floors are fairly well sloped to the left so that all liquids flow downhill and away from the milking parlor itself. The floors are regularly cleaned. They're washed down with water. We really do not want to have drains in this area. We want all the water to flow out completely out of the barn so that it's rendered safe. Here you can see the water is draining down from right to left in the walkways. Again, dairies are not necessarily clean places, but as you can see, the dairy floor it looks fairly clean considering what it is. This is a shot of the cows waiting to come into the actual milking parlor. They're all queued up. They're waiting to be brought into the stalls where they will be milked, and they're as you can see, they're happily chewing the cud, waiting for their turn to give their milk. This happens to be the afternoon milking. They're milked twice a day in our dairy. This is a modern herringbone style milking parlor. You can see the cows are brought in. They then face outward away from the parlor, which is where the two gentlemen are standing. It's actually a milking pit is what we call it, and the cows are all milked mechanically. What you see right there in the picture is a mechanical milker. The cows are very well taken care of at this point in the process. They have their teats are cleaned before they start being milked, and they're also cleaned after they're milked. I will show you in the video how that is taken, how that happens. The folks that milk the cows wear gloves, which almost seems counterintuitive considering how dirty the cows are, but nevertheless it's an important tool for us to ensure the safety and the cleanliness of the dairy in general. In this shot you can see that the cows' teats are being pre-milking dipped. The dip is to sanitize the teats before they're milked, and you can also see the stainless steel milking system. Stainless steel and rubber, all of these materials that are used in the equipment are either stainless steel or of a material that can be sanitized before milking. Every day all of the equipment is cleaned. I should say every day, twice a day, all the equipment is cleaned. There is no substitute for sanitation in a dairy at all. So all the cows are cleaned first. The milkers are set onto the udders, and the milking proceeds. The cow then lets down the milk, and then what's nice about this system is that when the cow has finished giving all the milk it's going to give, the milker is automatically released from the cow, and the milker gets pulled away automatically from the back of the cow. You'll see that in this video here in just a second. We take great care in preparing these cows for milking. The worst thing that can happen in milking a cow is to damage those teats. So they are very well taken care of, and you can now see that we're doing a post-milking treatment of the teats. In between each group of cows, the floors are washed down or rinsed down and prepared for the next group of cows. The floor of the milking pit, which you see now, which is that blue looking material, is kept actually very clean through the milking process also. This is the heat exchanger that the milk all goes through before it's put into the holding tank on the dairy. The heat exchanger cools the milk down so that it's kept at a safe temperature for storage. Realize that this is raw milk at this point. We're not going to consume it. We're not worried about necessarily making it safe for consumption. But once it goes through the heat exchanger, it's stored in the large tank that you see now. The tank holds basically what we can milk for several days, and then the milk is picked up to be processed on campus or sold to other dairies for processing. Temperature control in the dairy is absolutely critical. You can see we have a digital and a paper chart to track the temperature of the milk. Again, the milk has gone through a heat exchanger to be cooled down for storage, and we want to maintain that temperature to ensure that the milk does not start to spoil before we send it off to be processed. This is the truck that we use at our university to bring the portion of milk that we process on campus to the campus, which is where our milk processing facility is. It's a standard pickup truck that has a stainless steel tank that we pump the milk into, from which we then pump the milk out of the truck into the processing plant through plastic pipes, which are of course sanitized as you would expect. The same thing that we have on the dairy. Everything we use in the dairy is either stainless steel or some form of cleanable material. The processing of the milk begins with the separation of the cream from the skim in the device on the right. The milk is then brought over into the mixing tank where we can add flavor if we're going to make chocolate milk, or from there we can pump it directly over into the holding tank, which is this device right there. The holding tank is actually a balance tank for the whole system. It ensures that the system, this is a high temperature short time processing system, so that the system is constantly full of milk. The milk goes from the balance tank over into the through a heat exchanger into the heat exchanger that you can see right there. It goes from the heat exchanger into the homogenizer. The homogenizer is a large blocky looking device that doesn't mean a whole lot to most people, but it will be showing up in the picture in just a second. The homogenizer obviously breaks up the fat into small enough particles that it doesn't separate when you buy it at home or buy it from the store. From the homogenizer, then the milk comes back over to the heat exchanger to be heated up even further to the point at which it's pasteurized, and then it is passed through that snaking, spiraling tube in the back, which is actually the holding tube that maintains the milk at the pasteurization temperature for long enough for it to achieve pasteurization. Our system is very compact, so that we can achieve a lot of processing in a very small space. It's very nice for training also. So in this video I will not cover the packaging and storage and transportation of milk, even though those are vital parts of the train of keeping milk safe for us to consume. basically once it's pasteurized and packaged, as long as it's kept at a responsible temperature, it will be perfectly fine for human consumption. I do want to emphasize that cows carry a lot of diseases which are transmissible to humans, which is why we really do not want to consume unpasteurized milk. I know that there's a movement afoot in the country overall for consumption of unpasteurized milk. It is not a safe thing to do. It is widely discouraged by all public health officials. I encourage people not to consider doing that. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video.